Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. All right, so long time no see, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for dropping by. It's been 6 months since I posted last, although I definitely have gotten some things accomplished since then. I apologize first and foremost for kind of the different sounding of my voice. I have a cold, and I've had the cold for like 3 weeks. I'm finally on antibiotics and it's starting to clear up, but I've got a lot of mucus buildup, so it definitely is going to make me sound a little different. I do apologize if I get any of the coughing in the video that I can't edit out, and just in general some of the weird, airy, I don't even know how to describe it, things you're going to hear out of my voice. But you know, other than that, let's just get right into things. It's been a long 6 months. There's been a lot that's going on, both my personal life and obviously in this case with all my little projects, the Daytona included. So I just kind of give you a real quick recap just so you can kind of be like, where the hell did you go? You know, obviously the school year started, the football season started, which definitely takes a ton of time out of everything that I do. And things didn't go so well in the win-loss column, although definitely some big growth moments for a lot of things. And I'll talk about that later. I'd love to just sit and talk football, obviously, at some point. So maybe I'll do that as another series on my YouTube. I say all these things, and obviously time runs out. And time is definitely going to get a little bit more cramped in the near future because September rolled around, which was my birthday. And my wife decided to tell me that, hey, we've been trying, and we're expecting our first kid in June. It's a scary proposition to say the least. I'm excited, but part of that process is going to be trying to finish up some of the things that I've been kind of like sitting around and hopefully get some things finalized and hopefully be able to store some things for later because I know that it's going to get hectic come June. With the Daytona, there actually has been some work on here. I know my last video I talked about the sound, the sound corruption that I had, and so I didn't narrow really anything down. I had some good posts, I had some suggestions. I really just went ahead and cleared out the cage, and I have yet to have an issue since. So that last video was really the last time I've purposely used the machine behind me. This is the one I fixed the monitor, and since have adjusted. Excuse me, that I've went ahead and I've adjusted, you know, you're talking in this case the brake pedal, the gas pedal. I've actually went ahead and installed one of my new PET shifters. This is actually the second one. I'm going to talk about them because that's an update. And I played on it like almost nonstop for almost an hour at one point. And I got no sound corruption. I had no other issues. Like I was wondering, I'm like, am I going to get a video issue? Is the steering going to go ahead and give me problems? Or my gas and my brake going to go ahead and loosen up? Because I didn't add Loctite. I just loosened, I adjusted, and I went from there. And it's been good. And that's what I've been doing really the past 6 months is little things while playing. And that's been the most enjoyable part is that I've gotten two machines that I've been able to play. And they both run great, they look great, they sound great. And they're not perfect by any means. I still have a lot of work to do, but that's been the best part. Again, this has been a really fun journey and I've learned quite a bit. Still a long way to go, and so that's why I'm hopefully going to keep posting. I shouldn't say hopefully, that's my plan. It's just hopefully post more than once every half a year. Other than that, the catch shifters, so I'll go ahead and I'll go into that. And I've got some footage of this, and I planned on making an update. It was like around, I think I started in August, and I finished somewhere at the end of September, which I know you're like, it took you a month to come up with one 15-minute video. It did, just time-wise. But the problem is that I ran into some sound issues. I was using wireless receivers and transmitters to just go ahead and use my boom mic, which is above me. You think you could probably see at least the stand over this direction. And video looks good. I really happy. I don't have in this case any kind of anything audio related to even see. I don't even like it doesn't even tell me on the screen like if there's any sound going on. And I apparently didn't have half a video worth of sound. So I got some footage that obviously I'll post, you'll see as I talk about the catch shifter. I just don't have any sound, so I can't really give you a video. And no offense at this point, I don't feel like doing a voiceover. But so I shifted gears, pun intended. But so I went ahead and I kind of shifted my whole thought process on what I was going to do with the shifters. I have up in my office, it's probably like, I think it's four OE shifters. If it's not four, it's three. Now, I think it's three because I ended up buying one of them that I made a previous video on. I had one inside the machine, and then I bought a third one because it was almost too good to let go on eBay. And so it was in good shape. The problem was it was missing quite a bit. And the most interesting part with the OEM shifters is that they are all a little different. And what's crazy is that I guess Sega realized that they weren't great to begin with, and so they updated them periodically. And one of them has, in this case, I kind of narrowed it down looking through some literature that I found. One of them has a retrofit from like 1995, and the other one is completely OEM, which makes me, I was the one that came out of the machine originally, so I have a feeling it was never changed, and it's probably very rarely ever worked in its life. And then the one I bought on eBay that was in one of those previous videos, that one actually came complete, but it wasn't functional, and it needed new switches. And getting switches to fit in, because no offense, I'm not spending. At the cheapest, I found some of those cherry switches. Now, I did find some Omicron, if I'm saying that wrong, whatever, sorry. But some Omicron replacement switches that fit in for like $15 a piece. And no offense, as troublesome as it was getting them, the ones that worked to work, I was kind of over it. And so I went ahead and I decided to say, what is my game plan here? And I was going to go ahead and buy some Suzo style just replacement shifters. In fact, hold on, let me get out of here. I have a lot of stuff sitting here. One of those, if you remember correctly, okay, came with this. And so I was just going to buy another one of these. I was going to go ahead and replace the switches that are in here. I was going to go ahead and buy another one and just, unfortunately, chalk it up to a loss. And I kind of sat waiting for them to show up on the Suzo website, and they kept constantly changing their date when they were going to be available. I tried to find some used ones. I even tried to figure out how I could retrofit, or in this case, refit one for like a Cruising USA or San Francisco Rush, and it was just too much work. So, man, I was really dumbfounded how I was going to make this work without a lot of effort. And I ran into, I believe, it was the catch shifter behind me. And so it's relatively cheap. It looked like it was in decent shape, but it had some wear, and it was said to be unknown order, like unknown if it was working. And so I just went ahead and I messaged the buyer and offered him a price, and he took it. So I went ahead and bought that one, tested the switches, all the switches worked. And I was like, okay, so that's pretty solid. I didn't even test it in the machine. I tested it right off the bat, assuming switches were bad. And funny thing is that I bought some replacement switches for one of the OA shifters that actually worked in the catch shifter. So I was like, I'll just replace switches and see what happens. But all the switches were good. So I plugged it into the machine. I went into the test mode, and all four worked. I have not made any adjustments to that one. It's definitely a little looser. You can definitely hear it, and I'll go ahead and maybe I'll get a chance to show you that later. I don't know if I have footage. If there is, it's up there. But that one needs to be a little bit rebuilt. Again, I have all of that plastic that I bought, I talked about in a previous video, that I can go ahead and CNC some parts out, replace it, no big deal. The best part is I have this one, because there's two of them now, that I went ahead and I can use this to basically create parts off, because this one was actually new old stock. Yeah, it was NOS listed on eBay probably like a month after I bought the original one, and it was a much higher price, but it was hard to say no. And I went ahead and I purchased it with the whole idea that I was going to take my OEM shifters and basically sell them together and just say, here, one works, the other ones are whatever, and just basically replenish some funds and say, this is how I went ahead and got this. It was really exciting to finally have two full shifters. And then it was like, I finally was like, oh my God, we can really play this. And so it's been fun. But so I wasn't really satisfied with everything. Obviously, as I'm rocking back and forth in this is easy hardware. I'll get to that. But the steering wheels, all right, and hopefully I'll get a close-up up here so you can see it. But so my steering wheels, as I talked about, were recovered, and I always talked that I would send them to, what I thought would be the cheapest way to do this was just take them off, send them to a reupholster shop. You know, so I know that most automotive reupholsters hate doing steering wheels, but I figured it'd be worth it. And then all of a sudden, a whole lot of steering wheels showed up on eBay for Daytona, Daytona 2, so on and so forth. Now, granted, I know Daytona 2 really uses one of those different, more modern steering wheels, but these still are all the same. And they also were like Sega Rally. Sega Rally, I'm pretty sure, other than a different cover, they were the same steering wheels that they used for Initial D, some other odds and ends, and I was like, whatever. And so I'm going through, and one of the sellers, he goes ahead and has like, I think a 6, if I remember correctly, and it was like, oh wow, these are in good shape. Now they're all pretty expensive. They range anywhere from like $120 plus shipping to, it was like $150 plus shipping. So I took a gamble, and I messaged him because they'd been up for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and I said, hey, I'm willing to go ahead and buy 2 of these. What do you think about $200 shipped for 2? And he didn't respond back right away, and I was like, oh man, he's going to tell me no. And next thing I know, I get an email, I'm at work, and all of a sudden it pops up, my phone vibrates, it's the eBay app, and it says that I got a response. And he's like, that's fine, purchase 2 of them, and I'll send you the PayPal invoice. And first I was worried, so I double checked, hey, is this still $200 for both shipped? He said, of course. And I got the invoice, $200, complete flat, and I got 2 pretty much brand new steering wheels right here. So here's one, and now you'll notice, okay, in this case, the racing gear, I believe this thing, if I remember correctly, I looked it up. I think the racing gear cap is a replacement steering wheel. I believe it was for Daytona 2. I also think it was used for probably Daytona, if you're smart enough, Sega Rally 2. And I think some of the first Initial D games. Don't care. They're still the same. The spline is still the same in the back. But so this one, like, legitimately is freaking perfect. So I'm pumped about this one. I'm going to actually put this one with the pretty much, it's this pretty much brand new shifter, because I'm like, well, they're both new, let's do it. The second one, because I picked up these 2, the second one is not exactly perfect. It does have a little bit of a blemish down here, but other than that, it's money. I mean, seriously, money. Now, you can see the spline is a little chewed up, but that's just somebody just trying to jam this thing out. So part of the video today, we're going to go ahead and we are going to pop off the old steering wheels. We're going to clean up, in this case, the covers, because they're a little grody, but they're stainless, so they should be pretty easy to clean. Replace these. Hopefully they go on. I've replaced steering wheels in cars, so I don't think this is going to be much different. And then put the old cover back on and have 2 new steering wheels. I also have to pull off, in this case, the Drive BD, this whole big dashboard, and actually loosen this. Oh, that was something I did too, is that, remember, this was all janky, and I had to adjust this. So now this is perfect, or close enough perfect, but it is too tight. It should return back to center a lot easier, but I'll get to that. But yeah, so that's going to be one part of our video. Next part, and whether I do this in one video or I make 2, maybe I'll make 2, is this, which I know I talked about, but I haven't done yet, was these side panels. Again, for the Star Wars game, went ahead and the Pod Racer game used them. Now, they're not exactly the same, and as I promised, I'm going to talk about the differences between them. But I want to get these things back together. Right now, they're separated, and I want them to be a unit, and so I can move them around, because I've got some plans for the wall behind them. I want the wall to go away, and it's been a pain in the ass to get a contractor out to help me with that. My wife doesn't want me to remove the wall myself because it's load bearing. She's afraid the house is going to fall down. The house is not going to fall down, but it just is what it is. But so I want to get them back together, so I want, and at least in the meantime, be able to put these in, and then eventually I'll paint them. I'm going to use the good one that's here on the outside, and the one on the inside over here is the best one out of the bad 4 or the bad 3, and put that in this outside, and hopefully I can repair it. At least that's going to be my game plan, I hope. Because I want to leave the OE ones outside as much as I can, because they are different than the Pod Racer ones. They're different than all of them. And again, I'll go through that later in the video. Yeah, let's get rolling. You know, then we'll go ahead and we'll see how much we get done on this video. All right, so flip the camera over here to the steering wheel, and so I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily know how this thing comes out, so I could have looked in the instructions, but that's no fun. I'm gonna go ahead and take the panel off. From there, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a nut that's on the end of the spline, and I'm gonna be able to go ahead and loosen that, pull this off, and then be able to replace it. So I needed, in this case, I think it's T15, might be T20. It's T20, so T20 Torx bit. Now it's a security bit to go ahead and take these off. And so obviously they use these in anything that faced out towards the person using the arcade, so they just couldn't come with a screwdriver and take it off. Now, unfortunately, a kid like me, like I feel bad for any kid that I've taught because they know these tools exist now and they know they can go buy them cheap. Now I have a Craftsman kit that I initially bought, you know, I was working on my Volkswagen, but so I have kits in my classroom I bought from Harbor Freight for like $5 a piece, and the handle was another $5. So it's like you can buy these things easily, and they go up. Even the kits go up to like it's like T45, which I needed for this. And those are also the same size as I found out for things like you know, the stall doors in the bathroom, like for the hinges. So you know, I don't do that. I warned you, don't do that. But you know, it is what it is. But so we'll go ahead. We'll take these off. I'm not gonna lie, this hardware is, it definitely looks like, and you're not gonna be able to see it, but so in this case, like it's never gonna zoom in. I apologize. I'll get a picture of it and put it on, but these are definitely chewed up and they're loose as I'm taking them off. So you can tell this has come off at some point. I knew the dashboard it came out because the covers that are here, or they're no longer here because I took them out when I had this apart, they were all inside and loose. So someone took this off to get the dashboard off, which isn't required. You can pull it off and just let it sit. In fact, it makes it easier. You move the seat up and then go ahead and work on it. So pull this off. Okay. So this is pretty neat. This is stainless. You can tell they just went ahead and just used a die to press this in. And you can see what's nice about this. Look at the picture with this because it's stainless. You can see in the grain how it deformed. What's interesting is it didn't deform more at the top than it did the bottom. But I was right. There's a nut. There's two washers, a lock washer, a regular washer, and then this thing should pop off. So we go ahead and get the tools that I need to do that. Is this a 13? Look at that. It's like a Volkswagen. It's not a 10 or a 13. It's not right. All right. So, oh my Lord. Yeah, this is super loose. Okay. So we pop this off. Go ahead, don't lose this stuff, although this lock washer has definitely seen better days. Yeah. It's interesting is that there's some rust here, which might be the most rust I've seen on this thing at all, which is surprising. Alright, so put that there. Wow. Wow. That was easy. So everybody's just like, you know, that's intriguing. Okay, so there you go, one off. Actually, the hardware in these ones, now they're not chrome plated like the other ones, but they're in much better shape. Someone used the correct tool to take this stuff off. So we're going to go ahead, we'll remove these. What's got a number on it? I don't know what that number means though. So so this is what I mean, like getting this on might be a little bit more challenging than I thought. I mean, it's the same spline. It's just this one you can tell is definitely a lot better. So okay. All right, so the one thing I have learned, like when you get this issue where like this is really tough to get on, you can do a couple things. I can't pull the spline off and put it in a freezer to obviously get it to go ahead and kind of shrink. I don't want to heat this up because there's too much rubber around. But the one thing you can do is you get a socket and put it around here, and you can bang on it with a mallet to get it enough in place. Then from there I can go ahead and I can use my impact to then go ahead and impact this on so that this thing goes ahead and gets in place. And then we've got this, and this steering wheel feels so much thinner than the other one because it's, yeah, so much junk. But so we'll get this on. So we can get some tools, and then we'll get this. Went ahead. This is a 13/16 socket. Now I will say that this is just for spark plugs, which I have so many of these that I don't care about like whacking this and obviously breaking off some of the chrome and just beating on it. Just don't care. That's why I have this. I think I have like a half a dozen of these. So we're gonna go ahead. We'll place this over. You'll see it's like, you know, pretty much in that hole, and then we're gonna tap. So I apologize for the sound. We're gonna tap. So there we go. It goes nut. It's like a fender. It's like a, or rather, all right. So we want fender washer, lock nut, which I will replace this hardware at some point. Obviously not today.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
That's unfortunate. Wow. Went a little too much, and this broke off, which surprises the hell out of me. So let's talk about what you can do here. Man, wow. I mean, it's not even that tight. That's crazy to me. Wow. Okay. I mean, this ain't coming off probably without a puller, so we're probably okay. Man. I mean, I guess you're talking, thing is 25 years old, so I guess it makes sense, right? All right, well, I mean, it's shocking, but it's not, but holy all right, so I got to be careful. So here's the thing, you know, if this were a game I was putting in an arcade, I would have to come up with a solution. So what would my solution be? I do have access to a MIG welder or a TIG welder. I might think about, in this case, putting this on and taking it back in place, which would get you to the point where at least it would be sturdy. I'd have to pull the whole thing apart and take the whole steering column out, which would be a giant pain. So I don't know if I would actually do that. I would think about it. You know, you could also probably drill into this, which would be dicey as anything, but you drill into it, and then what you do is you drill into it and then use that. You know, you're talking in this case, and then you put a bolt in, and bolt into it. You thread it, you drill into it, you thread it, and then you put a bolt in. You could do that. I just, it scares me because it's hardened. So I at least, maybe it's not hardened, because I don't think this would happen. It was hardened. So maybe it's not hardened. Maybe that's part of the issue. So I gotta be really careful with doing that one. But yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm just gonna probably put it back together and just not deal with it, because no offense, I don't think anyone's pulling this thing off. I mean, I definitely just got a little bit of movement out of it, but not much that matters. So this is what I'm doing for my home console, so, or rather my home arcade. So I don't expect you to do this, but this is what you get with all hardware. It does happen, so it is what it is. Let's talk about cleanup now. This case of the cover plate. All right, so we'll talk cleanup of the cover plate, which isn't really anything too crazy, I think, for the time being. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get this back together. We'll do the other one. All right, so as you can see, I mean, it's in pretty decent shape. You know, I can't say it's perfect. This is what looks to be like it's laser etched in. Okay, and you can kind of see how it looks like it's oxidized, which that's what my assumption would be, which would have been pretty expensive technology. You're talking back in the early 90s. It may be machined, but it's so fine that I just don't know if they could have done that. That's easy to clean, but you see, like, this one's not bad, but these two holes definitely have some corrosion. And I've seen on YouTube videos people going ahead and using WD-40 for a lot of really good cleaning purposes. So I'm going to try that and see where I go. as far as getting that cleaned up, and then I'll use my regular cleaning stuff, and hopefully it looks good and I can get it back in there and feel really good about it. So I guess we'll see what happens. Nothing fancy here. We're just going to go ahead and spray it with my lemon Windex. Lemon is another really good cleaner. I could have probably went ahead and just used a lemon on this. I just don't have any lemons to waste. You can kind of see the difference now. Whole lot cleaner. Definitely looks a lot better than it did, which is very exciting. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to get this thing back on and do the other one real quick. Like I said, hopefully I don't have any issues with that one staying on for the time being. Alright, I don't know if you noticed this, but when I tried to put this on, I tried not to over tighten these. I did go ahead and get another clean off, and I feel pretty good about how it looks. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but man, does it look good. It looks a whole lot better than it did before. To get a before and after, it's not a true before and after because it's a left unit versus the right unit, but you can go ahead, you can see, I'll just replace my head with it because it's typically where I put stuff. Maybe it'll be over here, I don't really know, it doesn't matter. But you can see the difference between the two. Just even the cleaning with the WD-40 with the plate made things look so much better. But the steering wheel really makes a huge difference with this. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to go ahead and get the other one done. Probably fast forward through that one just because you've obviously seen the process. And then we'll go ahead and we'll probably start, in this case, you know, you're talking with our side pieces because, or rather our side plastics, because that's probably the next big project. So let's get rolling. steering wheels are done. Couple things that I will spend more time on in the future, but right now I'm just not going to worry about. First and foremost, fixing, in this case, the stud that actually holds the steering wheel on that side. I'm really lucky it was that one, because you saw that I was futzing around with this one. This one is not nearly as tight as that one, so that steering wheel must be really new. I have a feeling that one's going to come off at some point with somebody driving, not going to lie. Luckily, it's not a real car. So I come up with a solution for that. I think I have an idea like I talked about. It is what it is. The second one is, you saw me, I took a picture. The hardware that holds on the stainless plate, this is Gallup Racing, they're chrome plated here, and then the one that came with it is black, and they're also longer, so I can't even reuse them to begin with. But I'd like to keep the chrome plated ones. These are definitely a little chunked up because of someone taking them on and off, obviously with a junk tool, and because there's dirt in them. But they're also a little dirty. So my goal is, I actually have an ultrasonic cleaner. There's definitely some parts that need to be put in the ultrasonic cleaner to clean them up. So at some point that'll get done. So that'll actually be really good for this hardware. And even the hardware that also holds on in this case, you're talking the VR panel. Because they're all chrome plated as well. So I'll probably throw them in at some point, clean them up, and feel pretty good about it. Last but not least, you saw the dirt that came off of this thing. I mean, I didn't get it nearly off that one, so this one's obviously got some use to it in its life. So you can see it, it's right there, and right there. Probably needs to be cleaned off a little bit better. It's also got some, what you can see here is definitely some fading from the plastic, and I don't necessarily know if it's just because it's old. It's starting to get a little bit of a stick there, so I gotta learn, because that's how the other ones were too, which is why they got recovered. So I had to figure out exactly how to solve that, but it kind of just is what it is. Still, I still got a great deal considering that these are much better than the other ones, and after the cleanup, they look phenomenal. I'm very, very happy with how they came out. But yeah. Game plan is I'd like to get the covers back on for the steering. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that real quick just so it makes this look a little bit more polished. And then we're going to talk about the side plastics, because at some point we're going to want to go ahead and get these things back together. Replace the caster that's busted on this one so I can roll it around and kind of get it where I want it to be in its quote-unquote final place, which I think is over that direction in the corner. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get that done real quick, and then we'll talk about the side plastics. Alright, so I was going to put these on, and they are disgusting. So much to the point that I don't even feel confident I can get enough of the junk out, and this one definitely is a little gunked up around the Sega logo. These aren't perfect at all, which I'm okay with, because like I could find these. I found some of these actually new old stock that look like they're really good shape, but I'm not paying $25 to $45 a piece for one. They don't matter that much to me. So my game plan is to take these, and to clean them up, I'm going to throw them in my dishwasher. They are made of ABS plastic, I'm pretty sure. At least that's what they feel like. So they're going to hold up, my assumption is, pretty well in the dishwasher. If I'm wrong, I guess I'm spending money. I don't think I'm wrong. So we're going to postpone this, so these are going to be a little bit unfinished, which sucks, because, I mean, this does look a whole lot better when that's in there. I mean, it really does look like it's getting to the point where it feels finished, but it is what it is. It'll allow me to go ahead and work on the side plastic. So I'm going to work on pulling this one off, and then going ahead and putting them side by side and comparing the two so you can see the difference. Talk about some of the nuances with them, and then show you why I want to replace some of them more in depth. And then from there, we'll get them swapped, and that'll probably be the end of this video, which I feel like it's been long, and it's been forever since I've done it, so you're probably paying attention, I assume. Alright everybody, so this is going to be a wrap for this video. You know, I apologize, there was a lot of me talking at you, but that's what happens when you don't update for 6 months. But I thank you so much for dropping by. I do have more content to obviously edit, like literally I'm sitting on it right now. I just figured all of it in one video was going to be a little bit of a snooze fest, and I don't necessarily need to lose all of you. But thank you so much again dropping by. It's been forever. Expect more updates. We've got a lot going on. To get these back into one big unit and be able to move them around and get them in their quote-unquote permanent home so we can go ahead and take care of this wall that's behind us and get the man cave going full man cave style. But hey, if you really enjoyed my video, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And last but not least, don't forget to hit it to subscribe. That's going to be down here in this corner momentarily. But until then, I'm going to enjoy this. I got first place, in the process of working throughout this video, so hopefully I can get first place again and maybe get some video of it. So, until next time.